The first thing we notice if we pick the information and click on this is that it is a width of 0. So when we're drawing our lines, we're not really looking to define an actual dimension. We're just trying to give an outside boundary. Second thing we notice is we're on the dimension layer. Up here, whatever we're doing is considered to be the top layer of the PCB. So if we're going to be making changes, we have to just realize we're working on the dimension layer. Okay, so we want to make some changes to this so that it fits what we have requested. Note first that this is telling me the location of my cursor. So when I drop right there to the origin, I should be at 0, 0. It's important for us to leave that corner in place so we've got a reference point for making our changes. And this board's supposed to be 2 inches tall, so I take just my move, select this top, and I should be able to drag it down. Again, watching up here for the dimension, drag it down to 2 inches, which is going to be 2,000 mils. So I take it down, try to keep it a rectangle, to right there. Total length is 3¼ inches. So I'll first take this, drag it back to my 3250. I have that there, but now I've made it cockeyed. So see if I can true it up again. There we go. So we have our basic outline. What we want to do now is draw that little notch in there. So again, remember I'm on the dimension layer. So I'm going to want to come up here. I'm going to want to change so that I'm on the dimension layer here, which is layer 20. And then I'm just drawing a line. Notice up here that I have the width, I have the radius. To be consistent with what I have for the rest of this, it again has that width of 0 and it's continuous. And I'm going to draw, I need 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. I'm just going to start at some convenient spot. Notice that I'm at 1100 and 2000. So to get a 1/2 inch, I'm doing 500 from those locations. So if I drop the 2000 down to 1500, then I'm where I want to be there. Click that. I'm at 1100, so if I come over this way, I want to get over to 1600. So I have that, and I can come back to this point. At this point, I'm finished with that piece, but it's not really where I wanted it to be. If I look at my requirements, I wanted this to begin 1.5 inches from the edge. If I look at where this is located right now, it looks like I'm at, and again, notice it's the first that's giving me the horizontal dimension over here. It looks like I'm at 1.1 inches, so I need to move the whole thing over. What I'd like, looks like my easiest recourse would be to select just that, move that over to where I want it to be, which instead of 1.5 is going to be 2. So I can take this over to 2. And then I should be able to take this, move it over where I want it to be, which was the 1.5. Now I have my notch where I want it to be. The problem is this isn't really a notch. This is showing a dimension here, but it shows a board outline there. So I need to erase this. I don't know of a way to get at just that part of the line segment because Eagle believes all of this is a line. And so all I'm aware of being able to do is select delete, take out that as a delete, and then it's pretty straightforward for me to just drop another line right here, come across, and connect up. And I want to make the correction up here that this was a 0 dimension line. Then I want to do the same thing here, take a line across here, noting that that was also a 0, and I've got my board outline defined. If you look closely here, you'll notice that this line that I drew didn't really match up over here. Seems as though I should just be able to get the move icon and drag it out so it does exactly match up, but it's not taking it, and when I do match up, I'm hanging off a little on the edge here. That's because there's actually a grid that I'm being constrained by. I'm not seeing it right now, but if I go under the grid setting and I turn the display on and I look, notice here that it's a 50 mil spacing. And I see that this line that I had here really wasn't on the grid. I'm not exactly sure how I ended up there. So my real recourse, since I wanted to be at a multiple of 50 mils, would be to take this line that's right here and move it to match up with the grid. For some reason, it's not allowing me to do that. I'm not crazy about that, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that line. And I'm going to draw in my own so that I can be actually drawing things that match up with the grid. My next step is drawing those mounting holes. Again, those are just something on the dimension layer. They're going to be circular. Let me show you what I would do rather than trying to be really precise. I'll just draw a circle without really caring too much about what the dimension of it is. When I look back, I was specified a dimension, a diameter of 3/16 of an inch. If I click the information and ask about this, this gives it to me as a radius. So I'd divide that by 2, I'd have 0.09375. And since I'm in thousandths, that comes out to be 93.75 thousandths. So if I just change this to 93.75, then I have the dimension that was called for. It's much easier than trying, particularly with the grid, to get the exact dimension that you're looking for. I know I need 4 of those, so while I'm here, I might as well, again, specify a region, select copy, copy the group. Want to do that again, I might as well just select both of them this time. Go ahead and copy the group. I've got my 4. The only problem is I'm looking at these and it looks to me as though the line width is not the 0 that I wanted for a pure dimension. When I take a look at the information for it, I indeed see it's 6. For some reason, I don't really know, when I change this to 0, it fills the whole thing in. So instead, I'm just going to default to the smallest it lets me have, which is 3, and I'm going to assume that's good enough. And that's what I'll go with for all of these. I now have my mounting holes. I just need to put them in the right place. So we'll take a look at that next. Fortunately, I just need to be 250 mils from the corner. This is my 0 reference. Nicely, the grid is laid out in 50 steps. So I just need to be over 5 boxes and up 5 boxes when I move this with the center of it. Take that, move it over so that the middle is over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing, it's up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have that located. If I want to verify where I am, I actually can use this dimensioning. Just click in the center here and come over like that. And I can see that I actually am 0.25 from the edge, which is where I want it to be. I don't really want to see that, so I'll just hit escape to get rid of it. Actually can't do that anymore. So I will select it and I'll delete it. So now I have a board that's got the dimensions that were called for the design. I want to do this before I start laying parts in, because obviously it doesn't do me any good to lay the components in if I don't have the board that they're supposed to fit on.